What's up, everyone? I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppens.
And this is the Agency Rocket Show, where we discuss everything that has to do with running a creative business.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. And today we're going to talk about something that's close to my heart, the NIL. I don't know how many creatives know about sports, but I know at our agency they're not very sportsy. But
It's true. And if they are, they keep it very under wraps.
Yeah. So like something that's close to my heart, being a former pro athlete and Iowa State Cyclone playing there, is like the NIL that has taken shape, name and likeness. But that's what that stands for. That athletes are being able to get paid for their platform, and not based solely on their performance in sports, but outside of sport. And then that they can work with businesses and partner with them in order to gain like monetary and financial stuff. So,
and that's specifically college athletes.
Yep.
Obviously, professional athletes have been able to do that for forever since it was a thing. But we're talking about college athletes. What did the rules change a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that?
It's been since COVID that things have been taking shape. So,
okay.
I mean, nothing, it's still kind of very gray area in a lot of states, depending on what their university policies are, what their compliance, and like states like Iowa State are a little more conservative with that movement and aren't necessarily bringing people on board to be NIL advocates. They're kind of usually like external collectives that are working on behalf of athletes to help them get paid in that form.
So it differs by state and not necessarily by college or university?
No, it differs by all of that. All of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So some states, I mean, like I think they have certain regulations and rules that other states don't. And something that's kind of been a passion project of mine is helping like the Iowa State are getting in with Iowa State athletes and helping them build their brand identity, helping them educate them on their brand platform of who they are and how to work with partners and build money and keep money, not just for the 4 years that they're playing, but long term, helping them learn how to manage their money. So like that's an area that I feel like called to,
passionate about, and
not to say that I have like all the information within me, but I know the people that do. Yeah. So it's more like connecting people with the right resources in order to be successful in where they're at in the platform that they have, because a lot of athletes don't even understand the platform that they have and how they could use it to their benefit. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of universities like Iowa State, they don't have any, I mean, they'll educate on NIL, but it's still a very gray area for at least most of the women's basketball program.
Yeah. So when you were playing at the college level, was having a personal brand even something that was discussed on your teams or in your school or anything like that when you were playing?
No, I mean, it was just social media was just on the rise. So I'm like, it wasn't.
Oh my God, you're so old.
I know. Like Facebook was still a place where you told everybody what you were doing at every hour and whatever song was in your head.
Your relationship status was on there and stuff.
Oh yeah, and people were poking you.
Oh God, that makes me so uncomfortable. Stop doing that motion.
I know. And it was only weird people that did it.
So weird. And you'd have like the wars with it.
It was still like a university platform, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's so weird. Okay, so that wasn't a thing when you were around.
As far as personal brand, it's just them telling us that all eyes are on us. Like as people who are on a platform for others people to, or the kids to look up to, other adults to watch. they're just like, all eyes are on you. Whatever you're doing, it's being judged. So make sure you handle yourself in a good way. Say thank you, say please, say thank you, be nice to the janitor. Like Coach Finley would always instill those things in us. Like you act a certain way. You are polite, you handle yourself well, you do the right things, you show up 15 minutes early. Like it's one of those things where you're just like, all right, like I gotta
be nice to everybody.
I gotta step up.
I see. Yeah. What about a MySpace page? Did you ever have one of those, like, as a kind of an athlete? Did you ever have like an athlete MySpace page?
No, I had a MySpace page, but you don't, like, by the time I was in college, MySpace was not a thing.
Oh.
I'm not that old.
Oh, okay. Well, then that was me. That's how old I am. I was in college when MySpace was a thing. That's funny. Okay. Well, yeah, my age is showing. Okay, so let's say, so we have these new rules out for young. I mean, these kids are young. Like, college age is young. Like, that is 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe 22-year-olds, right? A lot of these kids. And so, like, if you are a 18-year-old who is, like, thinking about playing basketball, or you are playing basketball for your university, where would you even start if you're thinking about trying to make a personal brand for yourself? How would you, like, what would you even do?
I think that age is so difficult too, because it's not like, that's like the age where you're like still finding your identity.
Yeah.
We're still finding our identity in the season of life we're in. But like, you're still figuring out like what you like, what people you want to surround yourself with, what you want to be involved with in college. Having a mentor or someone alongside you at that point in time, I think would be vital, because they could help guide you to be like, oh, like what values do you want to stand by, and do you want people to see in you when they interact with you, when they speak with you, when any kind of interaction. Like, I think that just like explaining and mapping and helping them identify how they want to come off and what kind of platform they want to create would be ideal. Yeah. And that's where you and I, in our experience, would be able to step in and like help these women develop and navigate that space just like so much better than people, like kids who are off on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, there are kids at that age who do have a great social media platform. They know how to like manage their brand, but there's also kids that like they have a social media platform, but they mess it up because they do things that are off brand, just risking high risk kind of things.
Yeah. So maybe talk about what some of those values could be that could be represented on social media for an athlete.
I think it could be anything from like the hobbies that they have on the side to like, let's say, I mean, randomly, like for instance, like hiking. Like if they like to go out and do a lot of hiking, they could partner with like a local outdoors company just to like help represent their brand and just be like, I'm partnering with this. Like I love hikes. I got like these shoes, or like they help me enjoy the outdoors, relax, unwind, and step away from basketball, step away from the court. So something completely external. Like it could be like that, or it could even just be like, I like to eat at Bebop's or some restaurant, and you're
a diner
like
down the street,
Chick-fil-A, or just like local stores, to be like, I like partnering with them for like an ice cream flavor kind of thing. Yeah. Like anything from very innocent to like hobby to like, even if I don't recommend anything within politics to partner with, but like,
we personally stay away from that even in our own agency, just because we are not into drama.
Yeah.
But, like that's,
And there's some very strategic partnerships out there as far as like tax purposes with athletes who are making a lot of money, and they partner with people to do their taxes, and they help with like their commercials and pushing for that company and representing them.
Interesting. So, okay, so let's say an athlete, 18, 19-year-old, they have a very successful college athletic career, right? And they are trying to boost their influence on social media, trying to like get more followers, things like that. What we are talking about, like partnering with businesses, we would say, as an agency, we would say, well, like you need to have enough followers in order to warrant a partnership, business wanting to partner with you, right? Like the
value that you bring to the table. Yeah.
Yes. Like businesses aren't going to ask you for like influencer marketing stuff. They're not going to do that unless you actually have influencer marketing, size. Yeah. Right. But what would you say for some of those younger athletes that are trying to build that social media influencer kind of strategy and audience and stuff? What would you say to them to help them grow that?
I think like with the athletes at Iowa State, for whatever reason, a lot of them don't care about social media.
Interesting.
But I think from a general athlete perspective, they still, with the day and age that we're in, they still expect the NIL. Mm. But it's tying those together to be like, you need to create the value add to these businesses. And to do that, you have to have a brand that like kind of still represents their values as a business. So there has to be hand in hand. And I think just talking people into like the algorithm on how it works, what reels versus like boosting things, or like what kind of posts, like still be real, still be personable, still talk about the things that like you believe in and that makes you and represent your university well. But like it's like just how to leverage those partnerships with those companies would be like another like just educational point to help them learn and understand that social media at the end of the day, especially during season, is the best use of their time, which is extremely limited, as any like collegiate athlete knows, is like your priorities are like your faith, your family, and your sport, like in school. So like, and social life usually falls off if you are dedicated to your sport. And so like during season, when you're getting home at midnight or at 2 a.m. from coming back from Oklahoma or Texas or wherever from your most recent game, and you have to wake up the next day and go to school, how easy is it just to like set like a day to create that like social media or a reel or some way to promote the business that you're partnering with, and just like push send. Just like that's easy, rather than you having to spend your time going to an event or to something during your busiest time of the year. I don't know. What is the best use of your time in your relationships?
Yeah. I think one of the things that we're kind of saying is that you can't rely on the fact that you're on a college team and on the college's brand, on the university's brand, to be what gets you there to success. That's not what's going to take you far enough to like that businesses are going to want to partner with you, at least not to the degree that is really going to be successful, right? Just because you play on a sports team and you are, you have that university's logo on your chest, that's super great. And for some businesses, that will be enough. But a lot of times, what really will get you further and truthfully get you more dollars is going to be if you take some effort, spend a little effort, and create a personal brand, which is you are a part of your university, but you also are your own entity. You are a personal brand, which is you spend time posting your own personal things on your social media. So like you have a personality. Yes, you spend time at your games. Yes, you go to school. Yes, you work out probably every day, all day long. And yes, you practice really hard and you post videos of that. And, you know, you do all this stuff and you share that kind of content. I think if you do that kind of stuff, that's how you help really grow an audience, because they'll get a lot of behind the scenes type of stuff. And people who care about the university will want to see what's going on with the sports team, you know, people who follow that sport. And you'll be able to grow that audience bigger and bigger. And then that will help you take your partnerships, your sponsorships, your partnerships, take it so much further than you ever could have before if you just relied on the university's brand alone. Because personal branding will take you way further than corporate branding ever could.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it goes hand in hand with, like, it's not the university's job to create those partnerships, at least not right now, unless they have someone on staff. And it is up to the athletes to represent themselves. They are their own LLC. They're the CEO of their company. Yeah. Like, they are a business. And I mean, just like any business, every business has to have a brand and every business has to market themselves a certain way. And I mean, that's it. Yeah. Like, people have to learn how to represent themselves.
Well, and we all know, like, a university is only going to put in effort. And this sounds very jaded, but like, we all know a university is only going to do what's best for them. And if the dollars are not being given to the university, but they're actually being given to the student, then the university isn't going to lift a hand or a foot to, like, actually help you with that. So they are only going to promote their own brand. They're not going to actually help a personal, like, individual student of any kind. So that's why I think building your own entity, building your own personal brand, and then riding on the coattails of what the brand of the actual university has, use that as leverage. Obviously, you know, it's a resource, it's a tool, use that. And then to build your own personal brand.
It is really cool to see the universities that, like, own that space, like LSU, when they had like a director of influence on their women's basketball team. They fully owned that NIL space and that change. It was a drastic change amongst everybody, but, like, they really owned it. Whereas more conservative, like Iowa State, they weren't necessarily looking to have anybody on staff that was going to directly be a part of the NIL stuff, because, like you said, like, that money isn't flowing into their pockets either. But you see, like, all these, like, really good athletes making, like, millions. And I'm sure the universities are like, not everyone has the same mentality on, oh, they're getting $1 million and I'm getting nothing but maybe just recognition. Yeah. Like, I can see that being a piece of it. Rather than it being like, this person represents our university, which provides a huge amount of exposure. And
so if some of these athletes, they have really good high levels of engagement on their social media, they have a huge following, you know, over 100,000 plus on their social, they are on a great team, on a great brand, and they have businesses coming to them, and businesses that are like, we want to partner with you, we want to partner with you, we want to partner with you. How would one of those athletes, like, make a wise decision on, one, who to partner with, and two, what's actually a good deal to move forward on?
I think that's an area that a lot of young athletes and parents are uneducated on, because like, athletes can technically make NIL in high school, or like utilize NIL and make money off of their name and likeness in high school. Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it like, no matter where you're at, they could start making money before then, or partnering with businesses. But even one of the parents, she's like, I don't know how to go about this. Like, like, what kind of contracts, what those look like, what I should be negotiating for.
Right.
Like people are approaching me, but I don't know what's a good deal and what's not a good deal.
Right.
And Iowa State does have a collective that's called We Will. I mean, they're not Iowa State affiliated, but they are like We Will Collective on behalf of the athletes. That's football, men's basketball, women's basketball, wrestling's completely separate, doing their own thing. But like, so they have volunteers to look over, like lawyers who will just volunteer their time to look over contracts for them.
Wow.
And then I think they have a few other people just volunteering their time to help the athletes kind of, if they have any questions or if any parents have any questions over any business deals, just to make sure they're not getting screwed. That's a good like thing to have, that they do have the collective to help protect and help aid those athletes. But I mean, it all depends on the deal at the end of the day and what it looks like. I don't have any specific examples coming to mind.
Sure.
But anything that doesn't match your values, don't partner with it.
Yeah. Like if you are a vegan, don't
partner with a butcher.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. What about like agents? Should these kids be using them, hiring them, that kind of stuff to help them get those kinds of partnerships? Or, what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff?
I think it depends on what kind of deals are flowing your way, because there's companies out there that have like a 20% fee.
Take home. Yeah.
Take home on any type of commissions that are coming the athlete's way.
Yeah.
And that's actually like extreme. That's like steep. But that's like one of the larger organizations, Octagon, that's their 20%, or at least that's what I was told by some of the Iowa State people. My agent, when she represented me, was getting like 13%. That's probably changed since then.
Yeah, because you're so old.
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably I think that's probably like the better deal of it.
Yeah.
But obviously they have to get paid some way if they're not working hourly. So yeah, that's definitely a space where like they have the knowledge, they have the relationships with a lot of larger businesses, and they might be able to make that connection or make those business partnerships happen. Yeah.
What do you think it is that is like holding back a lot of these young college athletes from really going after this NIL stuff?
I think it's because the legality, they don't know what's legal. It is such a gray area, and it's continuing to evolve and continuing to develop. Like even Iowa State, when I helped them with like a golf outing, like you're not supposed to use the logo. You're not supposed to use a certain trademarked language because they own the rights. Learfield owns the rights. And so like you can't market it a certain way sometimes because the legality behind it. But Iowa State did come around to like the landing page we had put up, and they were like, you can please add our logo to it, because we just had a logo that was like a vintage logo that was approved for us to put on. Yeah. But I think they are slowly coming around to allowing their name to be represented in those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
And because I'm like, at the end of the day, like it is your athlete. I feel like you should, even though you do own the rights to it, you should still want your like correct logo and brand attached.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be skewed or...
Yeah. Follow the brand guidelines. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Interesting.
Like you can use generic coloring. That's like the in-between for a lot of people.
Yeah. This all kind of... It's interesting. Like basically people are not doing very much of it because the law is either super unclear or it's like specific and detailed that if you don't get it exactly right, like you could get fined. Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah,
there are repercussions. Like athletes don't want to get in trouble for doing something against against the NCAA rules or the university rules that benches them for the season.
Yeah,
that's their priority is sports most of the time.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I know this is maybe a super weird comparison, but it reminds me of like the cannabis laws that we have right now, where it's like federally legal, but then at the state level, you know, and then also like at the state level, it's like everything's different. And then also like the rules are like so specific that like,
you can't put the leaf on the website.
Yeah.
I remember like, that one.
Yes. And like, you know, like we've worked with that cannabis attorney, and there were so many rules. Like the point size of the font had to be a specific size when you were creating packaging for a cannabis related cannabis product, food product or something. And like, it feels like that. You know, like it feels like it's that kind of cumbersome.
I mean, how does, for you, and you're developing your personal brand, like what are the things that you're learning to like, you're building up your social media platform. Before you were like almost non-existent, just the Liz Hunt, not DayCloud, but like Liz Hunt. Like, how are you navigating building your personal brand?
One of the things I'm learning is, you know, this is going to sound so terrible, but like we would tell clients like, you need to post every day, or like, yeah, you just have to be consistent. Like you just need to post all the time, and here's all the things that you have to do. And
you just need to do this.
Yes. And it's so much harder when it's your own. Like for clients, it's so easy to come up with content. But when it's your own, you overthink it, you overanalyze the snot out of it. You're like, am I gonna get canceled? Like every single video I make, I'm like, I think I'm gonna get canceled for this.
I think so too.
Yeah. You know, like it's just like always in the back of your head that like, I think today is the day that I lose, you know?
Like, I think today's the day that I'm going to say something very highly inappropriate.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to have, you know, it's just like, you'll have no idea that you will accidentally offend somebody, and it'll be like 100% by accident, you know, like I would never have ill intentions, but somehow, you know, like without thinking something through, you know, and then I'll just like read through the comments and cry. And then, you know, actually, I don't remember the last time I cried, but you know, like I'll feel like crying, you know, so.
Like, you don't read the comments. Haven't you learned anything from celebrities? They're like, I don't listen to the news.
Here's the thing. This is something, and maybe this is, I don't know, but like, I feel like I have to read the comments to better understand the audience. And that is something I always do. I do it now for every video I watch. Not every, that's a little, I'm embellishing, but like, I love reading the comments because I really want to understand audiences, and like I really want to understand how people respond to things. And like I didn't realize that was such a strange thing until I asked Andrew, my husband, like, do you ever go read the comments? And he's like, no. Why would I ever read the comments? And I was like, no, I always read the comments because I always want to know, like,
who's watching.
Well, and just like how people are interacting with content, you know, like, and I realized like, oh my gosh, duh, it's my job, you know, like that's just, I care about how people respond to things because like, that's just part of like our job, you know, I want to know what people are, how they feel and interact and engage and respond to pieces of content on the internet. So I will be reading the comments and we'll just, I don't know, grow some super thick skin. Or I might say something really mean back. I don't know. We'll find out.
I was going to say, I I get that feeling of wanting to like understand, interact with people and understand. But I will say, when I read, like, so Iowa State, when I do the ESPN color commentary, they have like a Cyclone Fanatics page where everyone just like, you know, everyone who isn't doing anything is going to write whatever they want to it.
Oh,
and they wrote some like pretty like hateful. And I was like,
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, I really don't care. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, you know, when you're just like, oh, shit.
Yes.
That one kind of hurt.
It's like, yes.
They might be right, but it still hurts.
No, they might be wrong. They are 100%. Whatever they said, it was wrong.
It was during the season.
Dude,
still trying to learn what color commentary was. It was like, so last year was my second year doing it. And so I'm like, I'm still learning the ropes, still learning how to talk in that role. Yeah. And one of their comments was like, they definitely didn't interview for this position. And I was just like, oh, I was like, they didn't, they didn't, but I'm still learning.
You're right.
Like, I just want to banter about basketball. Like we're in a pub talking sports. Like, I mean, that is what color commentary is. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be educational. Like you are explaining the why behind things from an athlete's point of view. Yeah. But I also wake up every day thinking that this is the day the intrusive thoughts win. And I'm gonna get canceled.
Dude, that stuff is such crap. Like, whoever said that, they have not done what you have done in life. Okay? Like, not a single one of them speaks 4 languages, I'm sure. Okay? Not a single one of them is a boss lady executive at a fancy branding firm like you. Okay, not a single one of them played for the WNBA, pro basketball, and then also traveled the freaking world to like play professional basketball. Was, you know,
I appreciate
highly
that.
Sought after, and was asked. Here's the thing: they didn't interview you because they didn't need to interview you. Like, you were beyond being interviewed for. You were given the job because of who you are. So don't listen to that crap. You are amazing. You are stellar.
You.
And your color commentary is ESPN worthy. So shut that down. None of that is true. They didn't interview you because you didn't need to be interviewed because you're that good. Okay?
We'll see if they invite me back this year. But yeah, I appreciate it. I know that I shouldn't take it, but I think when you read those things, like you read those negative comments about you and whatever you're doing, like I kind of like left a piece of myself, or like I stepped into fear in order to do that thing. Or like you said, I put myself out there, my face out there, my thoughts out there.
Yes.
And it's a vulnerable space to
for sure
step up there and talk what you believe in, or like, and the things you know, and just be like, I know what I'm talking about. It is such a vulnerable space to just like throw yourself out there for other people to pick apart.
Yes, for sure it is. The thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that words really matter. Like what you say, and that includes writing it down. It freaking matters. There's this old script that says that there's the power of life and death is in the tongue. And I 1,000% believe it, because if you've ever had someone say something that was so hurtful to you that it could like literally destroy you, right? Like we've all had that happen before. Like that somebody said something that was so destructive to us that it ripped us to shreds, right? Like, so don't tell me that the power of life and death is not in the tongue, because it absolutely is. But we also have the power of life. So like, I think that using our speech and communication to bring life into situations is one of the things that I so firmly believe in, and is one of the reasons that we do this podcast for other female entrepreneurs and other small business owners and creative business owners, and for each other, because I so firmly believe in bringing life and not death into situations, not destruction, right? Like, I want to bring good stuff and positivity and encouragement and comfort into people, and not all that destructive junk that you got in your comments. Like, the world needs people to fight against that. And I believe, like, for me, it always starts in my own thoughts, and I know you deal with that too. Like, we all have to fight it in our own, like, mindsets. You have to fight. You have to have a good mindset and positive thinking and all this stuff first, and then it will flow out of you. So, Chelsea, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh dang it, people like you, okay?
I love you. You know what? When you said that quote of, like, words matter and, like, they affect people, they can tear people to shreds, you had a very, like, enlightened mindset on it. I'm like, I get that. But also what first came to mind is because, like, my ability to, like, profile people. And, like,
wait,
like,
is this something?
This is podcast worthy. This is good. This is good. Okay, I went back to, like, people I've dated in the past, and, like, if they did me, like, really wrong, or, like, oh, I found out you had a girlfriend up in Tampa, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I would, like, I knew the words to say that would just, like, berate them and tear them apart. And I'm not saying they really cared, but, like, I am the type of person that I will never speak, like, anything super bad, but if you piss me off, like, I will rip you to shreds with my words. I will bring out all of the personal things, like you and your mama, and, like, all your trauma and why you act the way you do.
Like, you and your mama and all your trauma. That's a good line.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what I reflected back to, because I saved my words to cut them to pieces at the end in case they do me wrong.
For people's, you and your mama and all your trauma.
That's the name of the episode. You, your mama, and all your trauma.
Oh, I love it. It's good stuff.
But also speaking life into people.
Oh my God. Two sides of the same coin, I feel like. It's me and you.
That's why we work.
Good stuff. It is. I also noticed that I'm wearing white and you are wearing black.
I know.
Not saying there's any correlation.
Not saying I'm the devil on the shoulder, but.
No, oh my gosh. No.
You shouldn't
No.
You shouldn't do that. Do it.
Oh God, we are painting me in way too good of a light, just for the record.
Oh. But we can bring it back. I mean, we do have to wrap up here shortly.
Yeah.
But I do love this topic, and I think we should bring it back around one of these times. As far as, like, athletes and helping young, just like you and I share the same passion of, like, helping mentor people and helping, like, young women navigate, like figuring out, like, what they stand by and what they stand firmly in, and their values and their work ethic and their belief, and how to, like, leverage what they are so that they can level up to new spaces. And so like, that's the same thing, whether that's athletes, whether that's your personal brand, that's, like, whether just, like, anywhere you're at, whether that's in your business or just in anything you do, like how you hold yourself throughout the day, where people are watching you, when people aren't watching you, matters.
Yeah, agreed. And make sure that you hold yourself accountable in your own head, so that what comes out is life-giving to the people around you, and to yourself.
Also, reach out to us if you're an athlete and you just like a little bit of guidance and education with where you're at and what you can do. Always willing to have a conversation.
Yeah, if you're interested, we do brand consulting, brand strategy, all that good stuff. You can email the show and we'll get you connected to the right person.
Yep.
So that's all we have for today. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.